So this morning, Miriam Schwab, who I've known in the SEO space, I don't know, since probably 2004, 2005. She had a web development company called, I think Illuminea, something like that. Hopefully she's not insulted that I get it wrong. But she spoke at XMX conferences, especially in XMX Israel and so forth. And then a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago or so, 6 years ago, she started a startup called Stratic. And we're gonna talk a little bit about that. Basically going from the SEO web development space into your own startup and so forth. She flew in from Israel to have a bunch of meetings. I think we're gonna meet outside today because of the Delta variant. Beautiful day, so why not? And hope you enjoy this conversation. Miriam, thank you so much for visiting me here at Rockland County. I appreciate you coming here. We are very, very socially distant, as you can see. The Delta thing is spiking a little bit, so we're doing it outside and just going to be a little bit careful. Can you please tell people in this camera over here who you are?
I'm Miriam Schwab. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called Stratic. We are a next-generation hosting platform for WordPress sites. In one click, it converts your WordPress site to static and headless architecture for increased speed, security, and scalability.
All right, so we've known each other probably like over 10, maybe 15 years, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So we first met, you told me, I believe I keep calling it XMX Israel, but it was back then called SpinCon. And we needed to get a bunch of like SEO related people who knew stuff about SEO in Israel to talk about SEO and social and stuff like that. And I think you stepped up through different connections.
Right.
That was back at the Jerusalem College of Technology, I think?
Yeah.
Small world. So, do you remember what you talked about back then, or you don't remember?
I don't remember what we talked about. I remember I was really excited that you, a leading person in the SEO space, was bringing a next level conference to Israel because we didn't have any good SEO conferences then.
Right.
I actually don't even know if we've had since then. So it was really fun that everyone was getting together in one place. I remember it was quite small. I think we all sat in one room. Maybe there was like 100 of us, maybe.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact number.
Yeah.
But it was in one big auditorium. I don't know if it was even big. It was a big auditorium at the conference, at the college. There was some food there, I think. And I remember it was a bunch of us and we just all just scrapped it together.
Yeah.
And then it became much more official. We did it at the Inbal Hotel later. And I've been meaning to bring it back. I was actually about to sign a contract with one of the hotels in Tel Aviv to bring back XMX Israel for January of 2022. And then all of a sudden this Delta thing came out and everybody's getting sick again. So I think I'm not gonna do it.
There was another, you were planning the one before this.
Yeah.
Okay, you did one, and then I think you were planning for the year after, and then also there were issues, and then you just couldn't do it, right?
Right, then it was people getting stabbed, I think.
Yeah, I think so. It was something violent.
It was a different type of viral problem, but
yeah.
I don't know. It's hard doing a conference there.
What was the year of the last one?
Good question. I don't even know.
It might have been like 5 years ago by
I think it was more than 5. It was at least 7 years ago, I think.
It was a great conference.
But hopefully we'll bring it back. And
I hope you can.
Hopefully you guys will sponsor.
Yeah. You know what? Now we're in the position to potentially do that. We actually just started sponsoring things. We never had a sponsorship strategy before.
Oh yeah?
So now it's like online stuff, some newsletters, but we never did it before.
So you guys know, so you owned a company called Illuminea.
Illuminea, yeah.
Illuminea, and you guys did obviously software development, a lot of WordPress stuff back then, and part of that was marketing the website through SEO and so forth. And then you said, I'm done with that consulting world, and you got into the startup world because you wanted less stress, which is probably more stress, I would guess, but I don't know. You want to tell people about that transition from owning your own consulting firm and then kind of going into this, startup world?
Yeah, sure. So I founded and ran Illuminea for in total it was 15 years, and we focused on WordPress. A lot of Israeli tech companies have WordPress as their front-facing site, and they wanted a supplier that did it well, high quality, coding, and also service and maintenance, and that was us. We did that really well. So became experts in WordPress, and then I got into SEO because I wanted to make sure that we were optimizing for search,
right.
on the coding and infrastructure level, also advising our customers in the best way possible, and then after they deploy it, being an address for their questions. And I really loved this world of SEO. I loved learning about it. So that's how I got into that. And then the concept for Stratic came from my experience running the agency,
right.
Because as time went on, WordPress became more and more of a headache to maintain. there was always something like a white screen of death or something breaking, plugin conflicts, too much load on the server.
Sounds like the Wix commercial.
Oh my gosh, those Wix commercials.
Logan, WordPress, you never mentioned you have...
Kids. Aren't they adorable?
They're not kids, they're plugins, and they've been conflicting since we left the house.
Will I just stop it? Kids, plugins, just let them have some fun.
And when they accidentally mess up our homepage, are you gonna clean up after them?
A lot of people in the WordPress space got very offended by them. I thought they were hilarious. The plugin conflict one, oh my gosh, it actually made me laugh out loud. I was one of the fortunate WordPress influencers who got like headphones from Wix as part of their campaign.
I think everybody did, but you know Morty Oberstein?
No, I don't think so.
So he was at Wix while that was happening. He was there for a short period of time doing marketing. Before that, he was at Rank Ranger. Now he's at actually SEMrush.
Okay.
But he's like, he was looking at the list and he saw my name supposedly on, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but he saw my name on that influencer list. And he's like, take Barry off that list. Do not send him earphones.
Whatever you do, don't send Barry earphones.
Yeah.
I was very happy. People saw it as like a betrayal of WordPress getting the Wix headphones. I'm like, oh, you want to send me your headphones? You think that's a good strategy? I will take them. Now my son enjoys them very much. So thank you, Wix. But yeah, those Wix commercials do represent real pains in the WordPress community. So,
but you're always a huge WordPress fan. You probably still are. So.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
There was a point in time where I was like, maybe we shouldn't just be building WordPress sites for our customers. Maybe we're not doing right by them. So I started researching other solutions, and I came across this like emerging trend called static site generators, which eventually became known as Jamstack, also headless, all decoupled, all of that comes under that like umbrella. I was like, wow, this is amazing because it's everything WordPress isn't. You know, it's like those sites are very resilient, very scalable. There's no attack surface. It's just all of that. But building those sites is really complicated and really expensive. A lot of stuff that you just get with WordPress out of the box it's not that the case with Jamstack. And then the ongoing maintenance is just much more complicated in terms of, oh, I want to build a landing page. It's not easy like it is in WordPress, that kind of stuff. So I was like, all right, well, WordPress is still the best CMS. That was my conclusion. Yeah. But it still has those pain points. So then that's why I came up with the idea for Static. All right, well, maybe WordPress can be a static site generator, like one click, get the static. That's what people visit. It looks like the WordPress site. It acts like the WordPress site, but it's not WordPress. So you don't have all that mess underneath. And that's, yeah. So that's how I transitioned into it.
So technically, so I understand it, people are using WordPress to publish, but it's your program is making it on the front end a static system.
So there's headless WordPress where you really build a different front end and you have WordPress as the back end, and they're decoupled. With us, you have WordPress like in its regular format. Right. So it is like a monolithic architecture. The back end is completely connected to the front end, but all of that is not accessible to the internet. It's in a secure containerized environment that only the team members have access to, but they use WordPress as usual. And then they just click a button and it generates a static replica. And that's what the internet visits. They visit the static replica. And so anytime they want to make updates, they do it here, click a button, update there. So it's like they don't really have to learn new tooling or anything like that.
Interesting. I mean, that's always like our not like a developer's trick is like, call it a trick, is basically making a very slow dynamic website fast is to produce basic HTML files of what it would produce.
Exactly.
And you kind of made that into some type of software solution to make it easy for people using WordPress. Right.
Like we take care of it end to end. People have tried to build it on their own, or there's some plugins, but like you have to do a lot of configurations and there's a lot of moving parts and it's not so easy. With us, you just sign up for Static and you get the whole environment for you and you don't have to maintain anything and you just use WordPress as usual and click a button. So yeah, it makes it much easier.
And on the SEO front, I mean, it has its benefits, I assume. I mean, it's fast, probably much easier to crawl. There's probably less issues with 500 errors and so forth, where Google might decide the site's down or something like that. What other issues do you see there with SEO benefits?
Yeah, so we have some really good case studies with some of our customers who moved to Static, their performance improved, and they actually really quickly start seeing bottom line improvements like higher conversion rates and all that kind of stuff. So there's that. Definitely the crawling. We have monitors running on WordPress sites that are not on Static, and they have regular downtime. Yeah. Like sometimes it's a minute here, a minute there, sometimes it's 5 minutes, but like every minute it's down and Google's trying to index it, it's a black mark on their site. And on Stratic, you have none of that. It's super resilient and scalable, and it's also fully served through a CDN, so it's fast everywhere, it's redundant, it's like, so yeah, so speed improvements, just like stability improvements. Our customers like that their ad campaigns are better because the site performs better, like that kind of stuff. I'm sure you could think of more benefits around that.
I mean, there's the whole Core Web Vitals stuff, which is about all this time. I assume because it's all static and fast, the Core Web Vitals are through the roof once you launch it.
So the Core Web Vitals improve, but they're still based on how this page is coded. So if the HTML has render blocking JavaScript, it's still going to have that on Stratic. But we do have on our roadmap optimizing for that as well. Like the idea is, okay, we start out with click a button, you get a static version of WordPress. It's the best way to run WordPress. But we want to do other stuff during that process. So one is optimizing further for Core Web Vitals, even eventually adding accessibility. Accessibility is really hard to implement on websites. So eventually being able to do that in an optimized way. Like the idea is click a button, get the best possible WordPress site, and you didn't have to like do anything. So yeah.
So just going back a little bit. So you had obviously your consulting firm for about 15 years, and for a couple of year period, I think you overlapped between this and that. And now you're fully focused on this new startup firm. What's less stressful?